Hello and welcome. In this exciting episode, I'm going to make two skirts out of all the fabrics. About a month or two ago, I bought all these William Morris cotton lawns from the UK, from a store in the UK. And yeah, I was reorganizing my fabric and I just did not have a place for these. And I was like, oh, I know, I'll make a few tiered skirts with them. So yeah, this is part one of me making the skirts. Although, spoiler alert, this one is going to be a skirt. And this one was going to be a skirt. I had all intentions of it being a skirt, but it is currently maybe a dress, maybe a skirt. I am not sure. Anyway, here we go. So here we have the cotton lawn with the floral prints and the William Morris type motifs. I originally divided them into blues, and there's 5 different ones of those, and pinks or pinkish ones. I know this one's kind of mostly blue, but it does have a lot of pink in there, and I already had 5 different blues. So I started making this one without filming it because this was going to be my practice run, and then I was going to make basically the same skirt over again of filming it, but just in pinks. But I've decided the 3 tiers probably aren't going to be long enough. But I think what I'll do with the blue skirt is that I'll add a ruffle at the bottom. So instead of just cutting this in half and using it as a panels for the pink skirt, what I think I'll do is sort of open it up and cut it into 10 pieces and sew them all together in a long strip, gather it all up and use it as a ruffle on the bottom of the blue one. And with the pink one, I mean, I could just make a shorter, less gathered version, well, same length, but you know, with less gathering on each tier. Or I could use the other 3 because I just bought a bunch of different William Morris prints from this place in the UK, and I ended up with 13. So if I use this one as a ruffle for the blue, then I end up having the 4 pinks and 3 other ones. As long as I mix them together well, I think they look really good together. So this one will have, tier 1 will be 1.5 panels. The second tier will be 2.5 panels. The third tier will be 4 panels. And then the bottom tier will have a massive 6 panel loop. And so I'll construct it the same way. I'll just fold each piece of fabric in half carefully. Then I'll cut along it and create the 14 panels I need. So I have cut all my pieces in half, but as you can see, we have a size problem. The very lovely people at FabWorks, when I ordered 1/2 meter of each of these fabrics, they gave me a little extra on a couple of them. These are the correct size, and these ones are just a teensy bit more. So I could trim them all down and waste all that fabric and make them the same size. Or I could try and find a way to make this work. So for the blue skirt, I have 2 panels in the top tier, 3 in the middle, and 5 in the bottom tier. Plus there's going to be a thin ruffle along the bottom. And I decided I needed a 4th tier for this skirt here. So with the pink and mix one, I've got 1.5 panels in the top tier, 2.5 in the second, 4 in the, obviously this is not to scale, 4 in the third tier, and in the bottom tier we have 6. And of the mismatch, so the mustard, the pink and purple peacock, and the brown thorny thistle one, there's 2 panels of each of those, so that's 6, and they are the 3 darkest colors. So I guess instead of completely mixing the panels, which is what I did in the blue one, what I can do is on that bottom layer, it can be slightly thinner, and I can just use alternate the three colors. I think I'll do that. It's the simplest solution, because any other solution involves juggling and maybe trimming down at least one more panel. So yeah, I think that I will do that. It's the easiest solution. But I mean, the bottom one has the hem as well. Maybe I'll root around and find some lace and put that at the bottom of the bottom one. Yeah, I think I'll use these three as the bottom tier. So I'll sort them out and show you what each tier is going to look like. So we have the bottom tier, the second tier, these four left to make the top two tiers out of. Now, given that the bottom tier is just 3 patterns, should I make it that the other 3 tiers are also isolated? So in this third tier, should I just use 2 fabrics? Well, that's definitely a choice. And then the top 2 tiers would be, I don't know, I feel like the half, cutting them in half would be more obvious with that one. Yeah, if the top tier was 1.5 of the pink with the hibiscus and frangipani, and then the second tier was the William Morris, 2 panels of William Morris plus half a panel of the pink, it would just look like a mistake, I think. But what I can do is, in the blue skirt, the top tier is 2 panels and the middle tier is 3 panels. So if I went 2 for the top tier, 3 for the second tier, 4 for the third tier, and 6 for the bottom tier, maybe that would look okay. So now I just have to find a 1 foot strip, so 30 centimeters strip of something I can mix with these. Only a lot of fabrics in my stash. It's just a matter of finding one that matches. Okay, these 3 certainly match this lot better than that one there, so I think I will keep that one aside for the ruffle and pick one of these. This one, I feel like it's maybe a little too matchy with that, so we might not use that. This one, I got it out because it's got mustard in it, but I feel like it's a much brighter mustard than anything there, so we might ditch that. This one is the baby bear. I think this is quite a good match. It's sort of got the mauve elements of that one, but it's also got mustard and browns like the bottom tier. So I think this is a good match. So yeah, now what to do with these top 2 tiers? Should I just have the top tier be William Morris, just 2 panels of that sewn together, and then have the second tier, I'll cut these 2 panels into quarters and sort of just put a thin panel of this in between each, so it sort of looks patchworky. And then just have these as, obviously the bottom tiers are much more gathered, and have them as they are, sort of full panels. And then, or should I mix them up and have 1 panel of this, 1 panel of that, and 1 panel of that in this tier? I feel like that would be a bit messy. I think I'm going to go with this and have the William Morris at the top, and then do a patchworky type situation in this one, and then just do full panels at the bottom and sew them together. Yeah, I think I will do that way. But that said, I'm definitely going to sew these ones together first, and then yeah, see how I feel. So I'll pin all these ones together now. Okay, I've pinned together all my bottom tier pieces and all my third tier pieces. And I've just made sure that all my directional prints are going the same way. So that's the top of the spiky one, and if you go through to the peacock feathers, they're all facing, so the top is up there and the bottom's down here. So now I will machine sew all these hems, and I also made sure that none of the panels were twisted as I was pinning them all. So now I will quickly, well, carefully and slowly sew all the long seams on the bottom tier and tier 3. Okay, bottom tier, all those panels are sewn together, and third tier, all those panels are also sewn together. And I know it will come as a surprise to no one that I've changed my mind about the top 2 tiers. With the blue one, I made it so the top tier is 2 and the second tier has 3 panels. And so I've decided that this one I want to be different, just so I can, once they're finished, I can decide which one I like best. So I will stick with 1.5 for that one and 2.5 for this one. And what I'm going to do is the same principle I was going to employ for the second tier. I'll cut these into each panel into quarters, or maybe just half, no, quarters I think, and add a little panel, thin panel of the leftover William Morris print into there and make it look sort of patchworky. And then of course the other 2 tiers are full panel patchwork. So I cut one of the William Morris panels in half. So this is the top tier, 1.5 panels. I've pinned all those together and I'm about ready to get the machine out and sew them. And then with the other half panel of William Morris, I cut it into 4 little pieces, as you can see. And I've just been pinning them in between. Oh, I'm not going to upset it, but as you can see, I have to go searching for it. But yeah, oh, there it is. As you can see, it's sort of half a panel of the pink hibiscus, and then a little bit of William Morris, then another half. So I've got, yeah, four repeats of that combination. So yeah, I'll just pin this last one together, and then I'll machine sew the second tier as well. Okay, machine sewing done. Oh, jeepers. Look how many seams there are in that one second tier. Honestly, I have to I mean, you can machine sew the seam allowance down, but I just, especially on a cotton lawn, which is such a thin fabric, I absolutely hate having machine sewn lines. So I am going to flat fell these seams. I've already done the blue one. So this is what a flat fell seam looks like on the inside. There's no raw edges. And this is what it looks like from the outside. You can't really see any of the stitches at all. And it's also a nice soft drape. So you know when you do top stitching with the machine, it sort of makes all the fabric really stiff and irky. I don't like it. So yeah, when you take the time to do the hand stitching, which does take a lot of time, it just turns out so pretty. And yeah, I really like it and think it's worth it. So now on to this one. As you can see, I left the fluffy bit on the selvage edge of each of them. And so with a flat felled seam, of the 2 seams, you choose one and you cut it down by about half, and then you fold both of them over. So yeah, this is where I kept the fluffy bit on so that now I can cut it off, and yeah, I'm not wasting any fabric. So I've cut away that much, as you can see on that side. Now I fold them both to one side and tuck the longer one under. There we go, that gives you a clearer idea. So I'm going to fold the longer one over the shorter one and just tuck the end in and then pin it in place. So they are folded, it's folded under all along. Now it is time to stitch. On the blue one I used a double 2 threads, but I feel like that is too thick and chunky. It's great for jackets because of the weight of those and the thickness of tweed, but with a cotton lawn I think I'll just use a single thread. One seam down, 50 million to go. I do think it looks a lot better with just one thread. You can hardly even see these stitches, and you can't see them at all from the outside, which is good. Okay, now I just have all the rest to go. So I have finished all the hand sewing on all the panels. So each tier is a complete piece now. So I'm ready to actually start with the construction of these 2 skirts. I also went ahead and did the ruffle. The bottom tier of the blue one has 5 panels, so I was going to make this twice as long, so I was going to cut this into 10 strips, but as I was ironing it, it's so much easier to just do it in half, then quarters, then eighths. So I ended up doing 8 strips, which is a good thing because the flowers are that little bit bigger, and I think if I'd made it any smaller, like tenths, then you wouldn't see the beautiful big flowers, and I really particularly love the gerbera daisies, so I'm glad that you can see them. Once they were ironed into eighths, I cut them into strips. Then I pinned them all together, so it was just one big long loop. And then I sewed them with the machine, then trimmed down one side and folded the other under. And now I've pinned them ready to hand sew all these as well. So now it's time to construct the skirts. What you usually do is start at the bottom with the biggest tier and then join it to one, and then once you've done those 2, you join it to the next one and sort of work your way up to the smallest and easiest to maneuver. Whereas if you start at the top and sort of add one, then by the time you get down to the bottom tier, you just have to move so much fabric as you're trying to attach the last tier, and it would just be impossible. So yeah, with this one I'll start on the ruffle, and this one I haven't actually decided. If you decided that you were just going to do 4 tiers and no ruffle, then you would hem the bottom of the 4th tier before any gathering or anything like that. But I still haven't decided, so I think I'm just going to leave the bottom of the 4th tier raw at the moment and start by gathering the 4th, and then yeah, so I think I'll construct this one first, just because there's so many solid blocks of color in this one. It'll be much easier, whereas this one I'm gonna have a hell of a time deciding like which part, because I don't want like this layer and that layer to have the dark peacock leaves, peacock feathers right at the front. I just think it'll look odd. So yeah, I'm gonna have to play around with that one a bit to see how I sort of place them so it looks more balanced. Whereas this one, I've distributed the colors really evenly in each tier, so yeah, I feel like it will be easy to decide which bit goes front and center and which panels are sort of off to the side. So yeah, I'll put these ones, the blues, aside for the moment, and yeah, work out the placement for the multicolored one. So I've laid out all the layers, how I want them to join together. The bottom layer, I think the purpley pink one is sort of very eye-catching, so I've put it at the left, far left and far right. So it's going to be on the sides of the bottom layer, and there's going to be a center seam in that layer. Then next up, I'm going to have the sage in the middle and the pastels at the sides, so that they sort of go with the peacock feathers. And then on top of that, I'm going to have a large panel block of pink in the middle, and then the William Morris straight block at the top. and of course little bits on the sides of the second one. So this is what it's going to look like. So now now that I know where the front, the back, and the left side and the right side are going to be, I can pin each layer. And before you gather it, you sort of have to pin so that you know where everything joins up once it's all done. So these are the 4 layers of my skirt. I've put the purpley pink peacock feathers on the edges of the bottom, with the mustard and the brown in the middle. And then the 3rd tier is the sage in the middle. 2nd tier is the pink in the middle, and then the William Morris print at the sides, and the top tier is just straight the William Morris print. So now I'll pin so I know where the front center is on each level, and where the left side, the right side, and the back center are. And I'll use different color pins for each. And then it would be time to pin the 2 together. Normally this is done by machine sewing lines and then gathering by pulling the string. But I think I'm going to do it the super old-fashioned way and just pin the matching pins together. So I'll use the green for the center front, and I'll match all the green pins together, and then, you know, the blue at the back, I'll match them together, that sort of thing. So we'll try it, see how it goes. So I've put pins in the top and the bottom of all the tiers. Now I'm just going to match them up. So the front is the green one, so I'll match up the center front with the center front here, and the center front with the center front here, and then on the 3rd tier, and this is the 4th tier, then I'll line up the center fronts, and then the backs, and then the sides, and then all the middle ones. So yeah, I'll pin all the layers together, then sew them. Okay, I have pinned the top and the 2nd tiers together just because I thought it would be easier. So now I'm going to pin tier 3 and tier 4 together as well. So the bottom 2 tiers are pinned together, gathered and pinned, and the top 2 tiers are pinned together. Once I've sewn these, then I'll do the joining layer. Okay, they're all machine sewed. Next I had to join layer 2 and 3 together, and yeah, so that everything was one big thing. Okay, all 4 layers are sewn together, so it's just one massively massive skirt, or I think maybe even a dress. Anyway, I'll turn it in the right way. And so what I did was carefully sewed the layers, each layer, and pulled out all the pins as I went. And then once I'd sewn it once, then I just turned it in the right way and just made sure there were no puckers or anything wrong with the way they'd been sewn together. Then I turned it back inside out and went around the whole thing a second time on the same line. So you probably can't see, but it's reinforced, so I've machine sewn it twice. And now I will turn the whole thing in the right way so we can see what it looks like. Oh my goodness, this is so completely adorable and very, very big. I think when I was measuring it, I made a seam allowance that was a lot wider. So yeah, and I usually would wear platforms with this, so it is like a little bit taller than, you know, than it would be if I was just wearing bare feet. But, and of course I haven't done the hem or the turn down the waistband yet. But so I'm just going to I'm not going to add a waistband, I'm just going to turn this down and then put the elastic in it. So that's going to take a little bit, but it's still rather excessive. So and it's taking ages as well, so I think I might just post this as part 1, and I'm going to ask your opinion. Should I just go back in and sort of make these seam allowances bigger, which would shorten the overall skirt a couple of inches, and or should I cut the 4th tier and so it's about half that length? That way it'll look like a maxi skirt, but I won't be tripping over it. And yeah, or should I just add a little sort of bra type bodice to the top, a really cropped top, and make it a summer dress? I don't know. It's so pretty, and I was just swishing around, like, I can't put it on because there's no waistband, but I was just holding it in front of me and swishing around because, oh, this is so pretty. And because it's cotton on, it's quite light, and the drape is absolutely gorgeous. I'm going to get so dizzy twirling around in this thing, I tell you what. And I still have the other one to make as well. So yeah, I think I'll probably just post part 1 of this because I'm already overdue to post another video. But yeah, oh, this is turning out so cute. It's so adorable. And yeah, I think but obviously very half done. So yeah, let me know if you think I should just sort of cut that last panel in half, so and just have it as a maxi skirt, or if I should convert it into a dress, or I don't know, whatever else you think. It's so cute. And of course I still have the blue one to do as well. Here's the blue one, patiently waiting. I guess instead of using that as a ruffle, I could use it as like a headband and a belt. And then I could use the bottom half of, like, if I cut the bottom layer in half, I could use that as another tier, like a tier number 3.5 for the blue one. But this one is just 5 different blues plus maybe that as the ruffle. And yeah, so I don't think those, if I trim that down, I don't think it would really go. I guess I could make a hair tie out of the excess. Anyway, let me know what you think. But oh, this is so pretty. And it's just, the bottom of the skirt is absolutely massive. I really need to get a tripod so I could show you how fabulous it is. Oh, it is just so pretty. I'm so happy with this. Now I just have to finish it. See, this is what I mean when I say it will make a very cute dress. Oh, it's so adorable. I had to put it up on my workbench so I could get the full effect. It is so long. And again, I'd probably wear heels or platforms. And oh, it is just so cute. I'm not kind of a bit disappointed with those panels in the 2nd tier. If I had my time again, I probably just wouldn't add them. I'd have 1.5 in that one, maybe just 2 in that one. And then, oh, the pastel and the sage look really cute together. And I love that mustard in the bottom one. It really gives it a bit of a kick. And having the purples on the left and the right, instead of trying to put one in the front and one in the back, was such a good idea. I love this. So yeah, I'm not sure. I really think it would look very, very cute as a dress. But I also know how much I want skirts like this. So yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you think you would do. I don't know. I also quite like the idea of sort of cutting that last tier in half and then using the leftovers to make like a hairband or a hair tie. Not necessarily to wear with this, but so cute. Anyway, thank you for watching. I think what I'll do next is just go ahead and pin these 3 tiers together. And then once that's done, I'll put it, I've got 2 mannequins, so I'll leave this one on this mannequin, take it off my workbench, obviously. And I'll do the 3-tier skirt and pin that to my other mannequin and just see. I really sort of had my heart set on having a colourful, or a pretty skirt in pinks and these other colours, and then one that's sort of more neutral in blues. But I guess having a dress is good too. I've got all these gorgeous retro patterns for dresses, and I'm really, really looking forward to making them. So, but I guess having a cute patchwork tier dress is good too. Anyway, let me know if you think I should make this a dress or a skirt. I can't decide. I honestly can't decide. But yeah, I'll make up this one while I am ruminating. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I promise I'll actually finish sewing something in the next video. So yeah, goodbye for now.